Hello, everybody. I'm Chase Johnson, the Cut the Chase Sports Podcast, and we just got news that the Big Ten will be adding USC and UCLA into their conference starting in 2024. And there's a lot of things that go through my mind, and we're going to take a little dive into it when it comes to the good, bad, and the ugly that come out of this firsthand. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, what the hell are they doing? What the hell is the Big Ten doing when it comes to adding them and it comes to having UCLA and USC make that move to the Midwestern-based conference? But here's the good that comes out of it, the TV deal scenario. Let's look at this. A Pac-12, Fox, there's a connection right there. They're basically they're partnered with Fox. They have all their football and basketball games on there and have extension networks as well. Same with the Big Ten. The Big Ten football they have a lot of football games on there, and they're under contract with Fox. The Big Ten network is a Fox-based network, I would say, and then just overall, when it comes to that, having the two biggest teams out west in the city of Los Angeles merge with the Big Ten, which is a growing and also a very entertaining conference, especially when it comes to a football standpoint, is big. Because having teams in the East go out to Los Angeles and play an 8 o'clock game on a Saturday night when the sun is still partially out is going to be nice. And Ohio State and USC overall, just two historic programs playing each other, and even teams going over to the Rose Bowl and playing. And, the Big Ten team's going to play in the Rose Bowl. If the college football playoff doesn't host it in some of those years, they're going to be playing in the Rose Bowl, and they're going to get familiarity of playing over there. So, and actually, who knows? That might be up for debate, because who knows what the Pac-12's, their status is right now. There's no telling. But the TV deal scenario, Fox is making a hit off of this one, because Fox having, like I said, LA, Big Ten, moneymaker, also the Big 12 as well. But the Big 12 is also getting smaller schools like Cincinnati and other schools. But Big Ten, LA is also where the headquarters are. There's a big hit coming from this. But with that good being said, there are bad and some ugly. The bad from this, I'd say viewership. Think about it. We're talking about football, but in other sports of basketball even, UCLA and Michigan, for instance. Michigan has been a very good team over the last 5-10 years, I would say, in basketball. And UCLA has really picked it up. They went to the Final Four in 2020-21, and then went to the Sweet 16 this year. Those teams are going to be in the same conference playing each other. And if they go out to Westwood and they play a basketball game and it's scheduled on a weeknight at 10 o'clock p.m., not as many people are going to come and tune in and watch that game. So also, that's when it comes to the viewership standpoint in football. USC, think about this. USC goes and plays a 12 o'clock game at Rutgers. I don't think their fans overall, or UCLA, if they're not up to par and they're not a very good football team, I don't think their fans are going to want to wake up at 8:30 or 9 in the morning to watch their team play a 12 o'clock game against another team who's not really that good. So viewership is going to be going on a roller coaster wave effect. So there's no telling what could happen when it comes to that, but this is also a little bit of a risk when it comes to the other Big Ten teams and playing against those, the teams from LA and playing, and USC and UCLA playing over on the East Coast as well, which comes the ugly. So the ugly is travel. I think that's the obvious one, all right? For instance, the SEC. Oklahoma and Texas are leaving the SEC. They're going to the SEC, my fault. They're going to the SEC, leaving the Big 12. And from a geographic standpoint, it's actually not that far of a stretch. Texas A&M is in the SEC, and Texas, Austin is not too far from College Station. Oklahoma's kind of in that area as well. Arkansas is right next door. So that's an understandable move when it comes to that. That's also a money grab as well. Oklahoma and Texas will be seen more on CBS, which will give them more money grab. CBS and Fox again competing with each other. So that when it comes to more TV deal scenarios, that's another story. I can get into that on another video, but just let me know in the comments below. But when it comes to travel, as I said, when it comes to the fans also having to watch their team play at 9 o'clock, these are college kids at the same time. They're going to have to travel. East Coast teams are going to travel over to the West Coast and get used to a new time zone for a day or two. And then the West Coast teams are going to have to travel over to the East Coast. And the West Coast teams of USC and UCLA are going to travel more than the East Coast teams would have to. If, for example, Michigan State travels to USC, if we're saying in football or basketball, they travel over one time a year, okay? Or even if they go to USC and UCLA, they travel twice a year, okay? USC and UCLA, if we're talking basketball, they're going to travel about 10 or 11 times. So they're going to get used to Central Time Zone and Eastern Time Zone when all they had to do was worry about the Western and the Pacific and Mountain Time Zone. So it comes to the times like that. And these are college athletes when it comes to the fact that they're playing basketball, they're playing football, they're playing sports. So it's going to be fine when it comes to that standpoint. But at the same time, that travel is going to cost more than expected, and overall. But the travel, I just don't understand the move when it comes to a fan's perspective. Obviously, the Big Ten schools and the TV companies of Fox and everyone else on the planet understand it because they're getting cash, we're watching games, but we're also sitting there leaning like, what the actual fuck's going on? But I'm interested to see how this goes. This is not just a 2-year plan or a little trial run or whatever. I think the SEC will have a bit smoother of a transition because of geographic standpoint and some matchups overall, especially in other sports. But the Big Ten, this is a stretch. This is far out there. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't like it up front. But if they're trying to make some money, Los Angeles is the place to go. And the Big Ten knows where gold could be. Check out another Cut the Chase Sports Podcast video.